Hiya! Welcome! This is the first Minidisc Monday of 2025 and it's edition number 25, and for the first time in this series I'm going to take another look at a band that I've already covered. So back in Minidisc Monday number, I can't remember, but it'll be there in the MD Monday playlist, I looked at a compilation of B-sides and rarer tracks from the British punk band The Clash. Well, we're covering The Clash again today, this time with their 1999 live album From Here to Eternity. So this came out in 1999, around the time that all of the Clash's studio albums and at least 2 or 3, probably more actually, of their compilation albums were being issued on Minidisc for the first time. Of course, the Clash being on the Columbia label, part of Sony Music, meant that they had the weight of Sony behind them for all these Minidisc reissues. But this was a new release that had never come out before. It's a live album, obviously, but I would call it more a live compilation. To me, a live album, a true live album, is a recording of a concert, maybe a couple of concerts mixed together, depending on which event had the best sound, etc. But this one is taken from 4 or 5 different performances from The Clash, and you'll have seen the dates on screen a moment ago as to when all these tracks were initially recorded. Before I talk about the album itself, and I have just finished listening to it, we'll have a look at the mini disc and the booklet itself. The case is a broken one. There's the label on that side of the disc, and flip it over, we've got the track listing and the usual legal and copyright bump at the bottom. As for the booklet, it's very nice actually. I like the road sign motif for the cover. We've got all the dates of all the performances here, many of them in the USA, but there's a few in London as well. Some nice photos. Some quotes here from what I think are Clash fans who saw these concerts originally in the late 70s and early 80s. More shots of the band individually, and a nice page of some Clash merchandise, someone's collection there on the inside of the back. Nice booklet and a nice little package altogether really. But what do I think of the album itself? It's good, don't get me wrong. If anything, it doesn't sound quite live enough to me. I mean, you can hear the audience cheering and the occasional sort of whoop and someone shouting something, but it's a little bit overproduced for a live album, this, for me. I'll go through the tracks and I'll pick out some of my particular favourites. I'll try not to spend too long on it because this is the second of 9 Clash mini discs I own. So this is a band who I will be coming back to a lot in Minidisc Monday because I want to cover every single Minidisc album I've got, and with Clash being the best represented in my collection, there's a lot to get to and there'll be a lot of repetition talking about certain tracks obviously. But great starter, track number 1, Complete Control. Really enjoyed that, it's one of my favourites by them. London's Burning is track 2. Number 3, What's My Name. 4, Clash City Rockers, another good track. Carries on with quality in Career Opportunities, track number 5. Another personal favourite of mine is number 6, White Man in Hammersmith Palais, kind of a reggae tinge to it. Of course, the Clash, they really did embrace that reggae sound, certainly I think after their first album, or maybe first couple, and I do have those and they will be reviewed eventually for Minidisc Monday. Number 7, Capital Radio. Number 8, City of the Dead. Number 9, their cover of I Fought the Law, which is the quintessential version of that song for me by The Clash, and of course this live version is still quality. Number 10, London Calling, certainly one of their signature songs. I like it, I don't love it, but it's decent. Number 11, another reggae flavoured track with Armageddon Time. 12, Train in Vain. 13, The Decent Guns of Brixton, another great one, and another signature Clash tune. The Magnificent 7 is 14. Track 15, Know Your Rights. The penultimate track, number 16, was their sole UK number 1, albeit 5 or 6 years after the band had split up for good. Should I Stay or Should I Go? I've always found that kind of overrated, really. It did well when it was re-released because it was in an advert. Was it for chewing gum? No, I think it was for Levi jeans. I'm thinking of Freeze All Right Now. That was used in a gum ad, weren't it? Around a similar period in the early 90s. And a brilliant finisher with the always excellent Straight to Hell. So I would say this is a mild recommendation from me because it's just got a kind of inessential feel to it, especially if you're a Clash collector and you've got all the studio albums, you've got all the compilation albums as well, and maybe you've even got some previous live albums that came out, maybe of full concerts. It's a little bit overproduced. Apparently instrumental overdubs were made to this album before its release in 1999, and you can kind of tell really there's just a bit too much of a sheen for it. Perhaps I've heard too many live bootlegs in my time, but I like to hear kind of a rawness and a sort of lower fidelity sort of sound to concert recordings. And plus, with this just compiling in a seemingly random order different concert tracks, different performances, it doesn't feel like it flows particularly brilliant, but I enjoyed listening to it, and the majority of this stuff on here is good. Obviously there's some notable omissions, but they can't put everything on a single mini-disc album, but 17 tracks, there's a lot on it. It's over an hour long, so I would say if you're a Clash fan or a fan of punk rock, that era in alternative music, and you've never heard it before, then by all means give it a bash, but it's not essential by any stretch. But that was The Clash and From Here to Eternity live. Thank you all for watching this edition of Minidisc Monday, and I want to say special thanks to my wonderful subscribers and generous patrons. I'm going to go now, and please will you join me again in 2 weeks' time for the next exciting instalment of Minidisc Monday. Cheers everyone. See ya!